Hey everybody, this is Chris. I'm here with Eric Goldman. Now you just did your top 10 movie list, and the article's up on ign.com, but your number one is a movie near and dear to everybody's hearts, Star Wars: A New Hope.
Yeah, not an obscure choice, I know, and not a shocking choice for someone to be a fan of, considering where I work and what we do. Yeah, I had to go with Star Wars. When I really thought about it, of course, there's a lot of other great movies. If you look at my list, you'll see other movies I just adore. But Star Wars, it really, I feel like it's not just my favorite movie, but it's a movie that really shaped me as like who I am. The fact that I'm sitting in this chair with you, Chris, is probably because of Star Wars.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I think I wrote something similar in my top 10. Like, this is a movie that like put me on a path to what I do today. And so like, I think that's so true of like people who are fans of what we're fans of now. Star Wars was the inspiration.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we were talking before about the first time I saw Star Wars and the fact that I don't remember the first time I saw Star Wars because I can literally not remember life without it.
It's like breathing.
Yeah. It opened when I was so young, but then of course it played in theaters forever. It was re-released. So at some point before Empire opened, I know I saw it several times. My sister was 10 years older than me. She was big into it. So I saw the movie over and over, had the toys. I just don't remember not having that, you know?
Were you one of those kids who mailed away for your Boba Fett and your 4-alarm with the foamy robe?
I didn't mail away for Boba Fett, but I did mail away for the Emperor, and I believe Anakin was another mail away. So yeah, I was all over it. That was all I wanted was Star Wars toys, collectibles. And of course, at the playground, it was like imagining the characters. And I think that's one of the things that really resonated with me was the world that this movie gave us, and the fact that it seems so massive and so interesting, and the fact that every little corner of it, the fact that we know who Hammerhead was, and all those characters, because it was interesting. It was like, there's a story there about every little aspect of that movie.
The way they set up that marketing was interesting because it allowed you to fully integrate and fully like interact with it. It was kind of like, little Star Wars dolls that you could take on your own adventures.
Yeah.
That's awesome stuff. So I am a big fan of Empire, as I know you are also, but like, why Star Wars why A New Hope over Empire?
Look, if I was to look at it really and say, which is the best Star Wars movie, I'd probably say Empire, right? Just artistically speaking, everything it accomplished. But when I'm talking about my favorite movies, I had to go back to Star Wars, even though I kind of did go back and forth a little bit about that. But I was like, first of all, just the fact that Empire is the sequel, and it's not like a sequel where it's like, oh, it's not a great movie, the sequel's the great one. Star Wars is a great movie. And just, the fact that that's where everything came from. That is Star Wars at its sort of purest form. And, I adore Empire. But yeah, there's something about Star Wars, the fact that it's a basic story, of course. That's the whole idea. It's the hero's, journey and whatnot. But there's a reason it resonated with so many kids because it was giving us that idea in such a great way with such accessible characters. That really were characters that could evolve into what they did in Empire. That's what I would actually give Star Wars credit for, is the fact that when we go into darker places with them in Empire, it works because of what Star Wars sort of laid the foundation for.
Well, and it's kind of like another one of your true loves, which is Harry Potter, and I feel like Star Wars kind of grew up with the audience a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely. Exactly. Yeah, you watch them. I mean, I know then the Ewoks, of course.
Ewoks rule.
I love the Ewoks too. But yeah, certainly the leap from the original Star Wars to Empire does show sort of an evolution there. But yeah, I kept going back to the fact that it all is because of Star Wars. It's all because of what was in that film, and that I can watch that movie over and over again. And also that movie can exist on its own, which Empire can't do.
That's true. That's an interesting point. Would you have a favorite sequence from that movie, a favorite line?
Right now you asked me the favorite line thing, and the first thing that leaps to mind is, I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm here to rescue you.
Right.
Maybe because there was, of course, a huge wish fulfillment there, because Luke was portrayed, even though he was in space, as a kid from the farm, and now he gets to go out into space and save a princess and dress as a stormtrooper in disguise. So that line really leaps out to me as just being like a great, is Luke Skywalker, look how far he's come. Favorite sequence would either be the lightsaber fight, which I know is funny since it's, probably the weakest as far as what happens lightsaber fight, but just lightsabers, man, that's so freaking cool.
Yeah, exactly.
But also what really jumps out to me, besides the Death Star being blown up, is the escape from the Death Star and the TIE fighters attacking them, and the don't get cocky and all that. Just again, a very classic. What Lucas was doing, of course, was a throwback in so many ways to classic serials, classic adventure films. but completely grabbing us, and everything about the aesthetic of the movie and the TIE fighters and even those 1970s graphics now of the red graphics of targeting the TIE fighter, it all just clicked in. And so that sequence really leaps out at me.
And I mean, its legacy is obviously still impacting today,
Yes.
Today,
Right.
and all days from now on.
Yeah.
Because so much Star Wars news coming out. And I feel like it just gave us a gift for our whole lifetime.
It did. I mean, and even, people go back and forth. There's so much polarizing stuff about the prequels and whatnot, but you go back to what he created in the beginning, and it's amazing. And there's a reason so many great filmmakers who are very different filmmakers, Nolan, Fincher, all these very different guys with different styles are like, yeah, Star Wars is the movie that most influenced me. Because it's like, you can just imagine, we had this collective experience of sitting there as kids watching it, being like, I can't believe this exists.
Right.
And I want to go there, whether that means I want to make this kind of thing or I want to write about this kind of thing.
Right.
There was something about this world that it was like, I need to absorb this and continue on with something like this.
Well, obviously, lots of passion there. You should check out Eric's list on ign.com and more lists from writers around IGN. For everything Star Wars, stay here.